Today I'm cooking food from Trinidad and Tobago. I'm starting off with curried crab and cassava dumplings. So one of the key ingredients in Trinidad food is Trinidad green seasoning. It's kind of like a household staple seasoning, I guess. And one of the key herbs that goes in it is called culantro, chadon beni, recao, bandhania, lots of names. Or I bought it as Thai stinking parsley because the only place I could find it was an online Asian supermarket. Other ingredients that go in the seasoning are parsley, celery, a bit of green onion, which I ended up using some chives, some forage chives, a bit of oregano that again I have growing in the garden. At least I think it's oregano. It might be marjoram. I can never remember which. A bunch of thyme, a bit of bell pepper, a bit of lemon, onion, garlic, salt, and I think that's it. There is also pimento peppers, but I haven't got hold of them yet, so I'm going to be adding them in a later step just because I haven't got hold of it. I hadn't bought it yet. Other than that, that's largely it. There's a lot of variations. I saw some recommending different types of thyme, like big leaf thyme, Spanish thyme, finely. We just have the one type of thyme here. But yeah, there's a load of variations on this recipe anyway, but the cilantro is the main ingredient. Some recipes do substitute it with normal coriander / cilantro, but I did compare them side by side, and while cilantro does smell a heck of a lot like coriander, like really strong, the flavour is like totally different. So I mean, I guess coriander is better than nothing, but yeah, it's definitely a really unique flavour that I wouldn't even know how to replicate. But the seasoning is really, really lovely. I also added in a bit of spice fire, some Carolina Reaper sauce that I had. Couldn't find Scotch bonnets at the minute, so I just substituted since it's just spice. For the dumplings, I am using cassava root, which is this beautiful looking big starchy tuber filled with this white stuff. It's quite an interesting root. I've had it before when I've been abroad, but I've never cooked with it myself. It doesn't last as long in the UK climate as I suspected, so this was all I managed to salvage because they started going off. I thought they'd last longer after being on holiday and seeing like massive stacks of them left by the side of the road, but I guess the humidity here maybe does a number on them. But I just removed the skin off of them, got them ready. It's quite a firm root, and also interestingly I kind of got like the very gentle scent of like coconut from it. It's very strange. But for the dumplings, I am just grating them on a really fine grater, which took forever. Well, it didn't take that long, but grating things always takes forever. I use the fine side because I figured it fits dumplings. These dumplings are essentially just a pretty basic dumpling, but made almost entirely with cassava gratings, cassava juice, which I'm going to squeeze out in a second, and then a little bit of flour just to help bind it together. And for the whole meal in total, this is basically what I'm using. There's a bunch of spices for the amchar masala. I'm using a bit more of the cilantro for the actual food, then garlic, tomato, onion, more spice, the pimento peppers, the green seasoning that I already made up, and the crab, and coconut milk, of course. One thing I am doing with the crab is traditionally in Trinidad and Tobago, curry crab, which I believe actually comes from Tobago. They use blue crabs and they use half crabs, so they don't have much meat in the body, but the meat is all in the legs. I did have a look at getting hold of them, but they cost an absolute fortune. So I decided to substitute with lump crab, which I know is not the same, but I did see that, you know, you can do that. And to be fair, it makes eating it a heck of a lot easier than having big old crab legs. Yeah. Anyway, so the cassava dumplings, I also noticed that the liquid that I squeezed out of them, it forms like a corn flour type, so like a non-Newtonian liquid, which was interesting. But yes, after I bound it with the flour, then I'm just forming it into little balls. It can be a bit flatter. The pictures I saw online that people traditionally do are a bit flatter, but I thought these were a nice cute little disc shape, so I went with that. But they're really simple, and yeah, the whole process, it's I guess it's a bit tedious with the whole grating and squeezing, but yeah, this is the amchar masala, so it's got a bunch of different spices in it, coriander seed, cumin seed, black pepper, fennel, black mustard seed, and fenugreek seeds. So a bunch of different spices. I've never used this combination of things before. Smells really, really good, and I don't even like fennel very much, but it was primarily coriander seeds. Then I just browned the seeds. Yeah, brown them just to, you know, get the flavours coming out a bit. Toast them, that's the word. And then I just ground them up in my pestle and mortar, ready to go. And then for the curry itself, onion, then throwing in tomato, and then the pimento peppers as well. The pimento peppers I also added into the green seasoning that I had, but it's also going in the curry as well. The reason I'm doing all this first is because the crab cooks really quickly, and because I'm using lump crab as well, it's already cooked. This is the culantro, which I'm just chopping up to use fresh, and then also some green onion, spring onion, that's the one. Yes, so because my lump crab is already cooked, I basically just want to have everything cooked and add the crab at the very end. So I'm just combining the cilantro, the green seasoning, the crab, the pimento peppers. I use the lump crab, and there's also some brown crab in there just for a bit of flavour. And also these spices. So there's cumin, turmeric, and also then the toasted amchar masala spices that I ground up as well. Yes, there's the turmeric and the cumin. Adding that in, so I'm just adding in so that it's all ready to go, because like I say, I don't want to cook this for like too long. And the crab is also marinated in this overnight. The cassava dumplings I'm just boiling in water. They don't take too long to get ready, but you see they darken up a bit. They're really firm. They're really like dense as well. And then for the curry, I'm just frying off onions, tomato, pimento peppers, and just frying that off ready. Then I am adding the marinated crab mixture that has all of the stuff in it, basically. Like I say, this is pretty much cooked, so I just want to warm it up. That's all it really needs doing. And I'm also then going to be adding in the coconut milk, because that is the final step, basically. Just incorporate it into one. It's definitely a really interesting curry. There's so many like different components to it. I definitely would have never tried something like this. Otherwise, I mean, in the UK it's really expensive to cook with crab like this, because it's a small fortune, but it's really, really nice. The dumplings, they're really dense. They don't have much flavour once they're cooked, so like if you ask me, I'd probably guess they're potato, but they're really tasty. The denseness is just really, really unique, and the crab itself is it was so good. I wish I could make this all the time, but like I say, it would cost a lot. And I'd love to go over to Trinidad and Tobago and try like the whole leggy version for myself. And then for the dessert, I'm making sawine. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, but I can't think of any other way to. So it's a creamy noodle-based dish. So it's traditionally cooked by Muslims in Trinidad and Tobago at the end of Eid. So it's kind of meant to be like a rich, filling dish. So vermicelli noodles, I used rice ones because I couldn't quite work out whether it should be rice or wheat. Parched them in a pan so they turn golden brown, and the rice ones actually puffed up a bit, I guess kind of like Rice Krispies, which is quite cool. I'm also adding in cardamom powder, so I'm just taking the seeds out of the pod, smashing them up, and then I'm going to be adding that and cinnamon to the noodles. The noodles I'm going to be cooking in milk. Some recipes I've seen just use milk, some use milk, condensed milk, and evaporated milk. There seem to be a lot of variations, but just so long as it ends up creamy, I guess is the aim. I cook them in milk, like I say, and then I'm going to be adding in condensed milk. Different toppings, I'm adding in flaked almonds and chopped almonds, as well as sultanas. I believe they traditionally also quite often put the little glacé maraschino cherries on top at the very end so that it doesn't turn it red. I didn't have any, and I think this is probably going to be sweet enough with the condensed milk, so I just stuck with a few sultanas and the almonds. But all in all, it's like a really simple dish to put together. It's definitely struck me as a bit weird because it is a sweet noodle dish, but it's really nice. It's the way I made it was definitely too sweet for my liking. I ended up like stirring in a bit of milk to just balance out a bit. I can see how this food would be really, really good at the end of the fasting period because it's just so rich and sweet and creamy. So overall, like the food from Trinidad and Tobago, obviously I only touched upon a tiny subsection of it, but the curry crab from Tobago, the traditional cassava dumpling, the sawine. It's all really good. I definitely recommend trying it.